What up, what up, what up? It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ. You see the face, you know the case. Fire content only. And today we are at FTN Fantasy Special, where we get 3 teams covered today when we got boots in the ground in South Beach, in my hometown, in the neck of my woods, Big Jersey, with the Jets and Giants joint practice. And honestly, we are here today with a 10-year NFL veteran. We are here with Emmy Award winning, chopping it up with Leger Douzable. What's good, my brother?
What's up, Laquan, man? Truly appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to get you on, man, because when I was like, man, we could hit on 3 teams today. We're going to hit on Miami. We about to hit on the Jets. We got to hit on Giants as well, which recently they look like they good right now, man. Like the energy looks like it's a little different this year. Like, can you talk to me about what you've seen from this team?
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, again, the schedule makers, and you can read into this what you want, right? Because people always talk about the strength of schedule, whether you're playing a last place schedule or first place schedule, but by the odds of what happened last year, they have the hardest strength of schedule in the NFL. So they have a gauntlet coming out in the season. But what I love that, they have done is kind of try to refortify the trenches, right? And that's where games are won or lost. And honestly, Laquan, that's the best D-line in football. And I had the privilege of seeing them for over 2 days battle against the New York Jets. And a lot of people think that offensive line has the potential to be a top 5 offensive line. Yeah, for sure. When you look at that offensive line, but we'll talk about the Giants right now. Just looking at their personnel, right? We talk about Dexter Lawrence and talking to different personnel people and offensive players in the league. He's the most feared defensive tackle in football. And I don't say that lightly, but it is hard, almost impossible to block that dude one-on-one. Matter of fact, when I go back to a clip, I believe it was 2 years ago, of Jason Kelsey, and him and Brandon Graham were captains for the game versus the New York Giants, and Dexter Lawrence was the captain for the Giants. And one thing about B. Graham, he talks a lot of trash. He likes to talk trash. And he's like, yeah, big 9-7, we're going to be running at you all day long. And he's he's going player to player, just talking trash, player to player. And then there's a soundbite on the sideline of Jason Kelsey saying, hey, BG, stop hyping up the guy I got to block all day long. let you know. And Jason Kelsey's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
You know what type of player Dexter Lawrence is, right? So
he's different.
To put it into perspective, I think through 7 or 8 games last year, he led the league in sacks at D tackle, not at D tackle. And then he obviously had the shoulder injury and missed, the back half of the season. So you talk about him, Brian Burns, 2nd year in the system, a guy that has ridiculous upside. They paid him for that upside. They drafted Kayvon Thibodeau. And then they went and got Abdul Carter with a top 3 pick, a guy that can not only rush outside, but is shown in this system he's going to rush inside and use that athletic ability, kind of like Micah Parsons, just to get that athletic matchup against a slower-footed guard. They drafted Darius Alexander, a guy that I tweeted about the other day that I don't think gets enough credit, Roy Robertson Harris, who they picked up from the Seattle Seahawks, because remember he was in Jacksonville, got traded to the Seahawks. Yeah. He's been a guy that's been able to play up and down the line of scrimmage, and he's got the majority of the reps at the 3 technique since Dexter Lawrence are kind of saving him for the season. Don't want to put him out there throughout the preseason, but he has balled throughout the preseason. I think his versatility really takes this group to the next level. And we didn't even talk about their prize free agent acquisition and Chauncey Ghosting yet. Like, he's still on the roster too. So like when you talk about having
they got pieces over there
on the first and second team, like a lot of their second team guys would start on a majority of the rosters of the of other teams in the NFL. So like to me, that team is going to be led by its defensive line. Obviously, the defense wasn't the issue last year, right? It came on the offensive side and consistency at the quarterback position, and obviously the offensive line that struggled. Now, we still don't know what that offensive line is going to look like because Andrew Thomas hasn't really participated. Right?
That's what got the fantasy streets a little worried right now.
It's without a doubt.
Line. So like folks got drafts coming up, and I'm like, I want to invest everything into Neighbors, but I'm thinking like, man, Russell ain't got that wiggle he used to have, when he was in Seattle. Like that old line needs to be at least to be up to par. So let's go that route. Like, what have you seen, right? What have you seen from this offensive line that you think that moonball is going to have time to develop to get to Malik Neighbors down on the sideline?
And that's the question, right? Through the cross practice, I saw Will McDonald at times have his way with that offensive line, and he's going to be a good player. And it's really hard to judge them, Laquan, because they haven't really played against starters in the preseason. Yeah. And even in that game versus the Jets, even though the Giants played their starters, you got to think about it. The top 4 defensive linemen didn't play for the Jets, right? Will McDonald didn't play in that game. Jermaine Johnson didn't play in that game. Quentin Williams. Byron Cohart didn't play in that game. And then the Jets just traded for 2 more defensive tackles. So, like, it's hard to really judge that offensive line. And they didn't play this last game, I believe it was yesterday, because Douzable decided to rest the majority of the starters. So it'll be interesting as we see them. I believe they started off the season with 2 divisional games, and then it's the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll learn real early about that offensive line, like really early, if they're going to be a detriment, because they were a detriment to that team last year. I know people will say Daniel Jones gets a lot of the blame, but it's hard when you're under duress, right? Your clock gets sped up. Yeah, your clock gets sped up. So
I never played ball. Like, I played soccer all my life, man. I played the other football. So like understanding, the other football. So we got to understand, like, it's going to take time. You can't make the magic happen when you got the numbers from your players on your team coming full speed at you, and you trying to make a play develop to be a touchdown or a first down. Like, that's what got me worried about me going all in on Malik Neighbors. Like, I'm high on Malik Neighbors in fantasy this year, man. Like, really, really high. Like, I'm willing to take him over Justin Jefferson. Like, feel me? So, and that's how I feel at this point, where we're going to be having that same conversation, where it's going to be Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. That's the Rushmore right there of freak athletes at the position. So I do feel like, having the offensive line issues, from what you're telling me now, I should just be a little worried that it may not be all wheels up out the gate.
I would say fantasy-wise, you shouldn't have an issue, because we saw the target share that Malik Neighbors got. I want to say he was like top 3 in the NFL as a rookie last year in the targets he got.
Big dog.
So he's going to get the targets right now. The thing is, will they be down the field, because can they protect? And that's the thing that Russell Wilson loves to do, right? He likes to hold on to the ball. And we saw it versus the Jets, right? That moon ball to Collins, that's where he kind of lives his realm. And the thing is, Brian Daboll is going to want him to get the ball out of his hands. And we've actually saw growth in Russell Wilson. We saw it in the first preseason game where he didn't hold the ball. He got the ball out of his hands, where when the time presents itself and the offensive line protects, then he can take that shot with the moon ball. But Brian Daboll doesn't want him to live in that realm. He wants to get the ball out of his hands, get it to your playmakers on the outside. Theo Johnson's another sleeper, I think, this year, because he's got a real good connection with not only Jackson Dart, but also Russell Wilson. He's played really well throughout the preseason. So he's a guy that could be a sleeper. But again, to what we talked about earlier, Laquan, it's going to come down to that offensive line. They got to do a better job of protecting the quarterback.
Listen, let's talk about the other New York team. We got to talk Jets. I mean, look, there's a lot around Justin Fields right now with the toe injury kicking off. You know, the offseason kind of had folks worried in fantasy, but right now, folks are bringing him up those draft boards. Like, they're bringing him up in the rankings. I mean, folks are really, really excited about Justin Fields as the runner. But from your lens, how did Justin Fields look as a passer this offseason from your lens?
And it's so interesting, right? Because people will talk about the struggles, and you can only talk about what you see on film, but a lot of people weren't at practice. And in that cross practice versus the Giants, I believe the first day he started off like 7 of 7. Right now, he struggled in the move the ball series. But again, you're going to have ebbs and flows to a series throughout different drives in an NFL game. So that is going to happen. And then people will talk about how he was efficient that first game versus the Green Bay Packers, right? But they only threw like 5 passes, right? So I think it was like 4 or 5 and had like 100 quarterback rating, but a lot of them were checkdowns to Andrew Beck. Because Garrett Wilson gets so much attention from the secondary, it leaves the underneath route open. And I believe his offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrang, and Justin came out and said, if they're going to go and, pass everything off and try to cover Garrett deep, I have no problem taking 8-yard checkdowns all the way down the field. And that's the realm you have to live in, right? You can't force the ball. Now, I feel like there were some plays in Green Bay where even though not Justin Fields, but Garrett Wilson's going to get double teamed, there was plays to be had on a couple of dig routes where if he lets the ball go in timing, he could hit Garrett Wilson down the field. And I think they'll grow that chemistry like they did at Ohio State as they continue to grow throughout the season. So I know people will make a big fuss about what transpired in the Giants game, because I think he was 1 of 5 passing, but it's hard to get in a rhythm when you're only playing like 2 series, right? You have to
Exactly. Yeah.
play multiple series to get a real grip on what that offense is going to look like. And then also just to give peace of mind to Jets fans or just to educate people. Like
Yeah.
everything is dumbed down in the preseason. Like nobody's
Mhm.
scheming things open. I will say the first game, Tanner Engstring did show a little bit on offense, and I think that's why it was so open for the Jets in week one. But in week two, everything was dumbed down. Like you saw
Yeah.
screens to the left, you saw a bootleg to Mason Taylor to the left, and like
Yeah.
one of those incompletions was a high snap. Tippmann, snapped the ball really high, so it's hard for the quarterback to adjust his hands to get it right to throw the screen to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Like that's just a mishap on the offense. So I would say everybody just relax. You talked about it.
Yeah.
People are going to be in love with Justin Fields as a runner. We saw that come to fruition in the first preseason game where he had that scamper in the red zone for a touchdown. And that's where he's going to be dangerous because if teams feel like they can go man coverage and put more in the box, the thing is, good luck tackling that dude in the open space because not only is he elusive, he's about 220, 230 pounds. He's
He
tough
ain't
to
little
bring
now.
down. He ain't no
Yeah.
little dude. He turns into a running
He
back.
lifts weights. He
Yeah.
lifts weights.
I lift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's
Facts.
tough. He's tough to bring down in the open field. And I think that's where the
Yeah.
Jets will find the secret sauce with his ability to not only be able to throw the ball down the field, but use his legs to be a part of the run game.
Now, doing your eye test, who looks the part as that RB1?
It's so funny that we were even talking. Like, it's crazy that we're even talking about this, right?
Hey, the fantasy streets is they little worried right now. But this is why we here to
correct.
We trying to get what's the word.
Yeah, if you go to the 2023 season, Breece Hall had nearly 1,600 all-purpose yards, and it was crazy because the staff was saying that they didn't know how good of a receiver he was, and I'm like, did you not look at the Iowa State tape? Like,
was you not playing fantasy at least?
Like this dude really gets down in the open field, and
yeah,
you've heard Aaron Glenn talk about that. Like that's where they kind of see his skill set. They want to get those mismatches versus linebackers and safeties out in space. Braylon Allen, though, when you just think about the mentality of what their head coach Aaron Glenn is, it kind of fits it perfectly, right? He's a smash mouth. Downhill,
a piano
bull in a China shop.
Exactly.
Get out the way. 240 pounds. Make your safety make a business decision. That's what he does.
If he want to play 4-5 more years,
yeah,
he ain't going for that hit.
So that's the thing. So when you look at it from a fantasy perspective, like I think going into last year, everybody was extremely high on Breece, myself included, right? But just because of what we saw the year before, going over 1,600 all-purpose yards, almost 1,000 yards rushing, I think right under 600 yards receiving. You're like, this dude's ceiling is probably like 1,800 1,800 all-purpose, maybe even 2,000, right? Like it just didn't come to fruition last year. But I think now with Tanner Engstring and him having the history being with Ben Johnson and understanding the two-back system, I think we'll get the best out of Breece Hall, where Brandon Allen will kind of be like David Montgomery, and then, Breece Hall will be like Jahmyr Gibbs. So I would say I'm not as high on him because I think there will be more shared reps between the two than in previous years, but I'm still pretty high on Breece just because I love what Tanner Engstring has done throughout the offseason and the fact that they're going to try to get him the ball in space.
Now, that's why folks are tapped into what's the word, because we are connecting the dots here. Those little 8-yard check downs that Tanner Engstring said he cool with, where you think they about to go, folks? It's about to go to Breece Hall.
No question.
He's going to be in open space. He's going to put his foot in the ground. He's going to get upfield. So the thing I want to transition to now, there's drama in South Beach. I mean, there's always something going on.
Right?
It's always something going on. And listen, I got drafts coming up. Folks got drafts coming up, man. There is a lot of question marks. I mean, let's start with the team as a unit from a lens to you. Like, does this look like this is a team that is tight-knit like the Patriots, or tight-knit like kind of how the Rams are? Like, does this look like a team of divide, or is this team ready to put their big boy pants on and win some games?
That's the question mark, right? I had the privilege of spending some time with the Miami Dolphins down here during training camp with Tua Tagovailoa. This is actually my second year in a row being able to spend time with him, interview him, Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, got Jalen Waddle this year. And the interesting thing, now, again, this could be all lip service. You don't know until you see it out on the field. They hear all the noise about people talking about them being soft, right? The culture of the Miami Dolphins, what is it? Is it a good culture, right? Obviously, they changed their whole secondary. Like Javon Holland's gone, Jalen Ramsey, Cater Kohu gets hurt. So, like, it's a revamped secondary. They bring back Mika Fitzpatrick, who wasn't part of this original staff. Remember, he was with Brian Flores. And they hear all the noise, but they know only they can quell it, right? And Mike McDaniel talked about it. He's like, people always talk about what culture is and whether a team is player-led or this and that. We know what we are in this locker room. And you've heard Willie Gay talk about it. He's brought some juice to that team as well. Patrick Paul has talked about it. Tua Tagovailoa. And people were surprised when he kind of called out Tyreek Hill, saying he has some work to do to kind of get back into good graces, right? You can't say what you said at the end of the season and just think it's okay.
Yeah. You can't go on TikTok or Facebook doing your top 5 QBs and leaving your guy out, man. Like, that's going to cause some drama.
So I honestly think Tyreek will have a not breakout year, but get back to what
maybe
he was
a bounce
doing.
back.
Bounce back year is a better word. But honestly, throughout training camp, you know who's been the number one target? It's been Jalen Waddle. Right now, let's not forget he also
hold up. You just jumped the rundown. That was my next question. Hold up. You gotta talk to the fantasy streets now. Feed us this. Hold up. Jalen Waddle, because it's been quiet. It's been quiet right now in drafts. Like, he is going in like later rounds. Like, he's one of those mid rounds that you can get.
I'm trying to tell you, that's going to be great value for you. I know we talked about Tanner Hudson earlier, or Connor.
That's your guy. Oh, your sleeper guy.
Yeah,
Tanner,
sleeper
Tanner
guy.
Connor.
Tanner Connor. Yeah, for sure.
We'll get him
Darren Waller. We'll get into it, but Darren Waller, just came back. But Jalen Waddle, the practices I went to, he was the number one guy. Like, he has a real connection with Tua Tagovailoa. Obviously, they went to college together. They're playing in the league together. But he's really stepped his game up. And I actually sat down and talked with him because people don't talk about his game enough. And it's probably because Tyreek Hill is on the roster. But what he did his first couple years with the back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons, back-to-back like 70-yard catches, like, that's a rare feat. Not a lot of guys are doing that. And then last year, he dealt with some injuries. Obviously, his quarterback missed about 5 or 6 games, so the numbers aren't going to be where they were at. And I believe he just went over 700 yards. But he talked about getting back to that connection with Tua and getting back to where he was at when he was productive. And like I said, just watching practice, he's been the number one receiver on this Dolphins team. Now, again, we talked about the Giants earlier. It's going to come down to this offensive line, which was much maligned last year. Obviously, some moving pieces. And again, Austin Jackson is banged up again, which is a bit of a concern. But I really love what I've seen from Patrick Paul and Jordan Savania. These are their 2 second-round picks from the last 2 years. Those guys got some nastiness. And I think they've tried to bring that back, and they're trying to quell or change the mindset of being a soft team, right? I put that in quotation marks because I can tell you from my perspective as an ex-player, the one thing, Laquan, you never want your team to be called, or you yourself, is a soft player in a physical game of football. I feel like that's testing your manhood when somebody says this is a soft team, a team that has no discipline. This is a team that can't play in cold weather. Like, they're trying to change that narrative. Now, again, only they can change it, right? The noise is going to continue to be there until they go out and change it, because they have, a 25-year losing playoff record as far as not being able to win a playoff game. And then also, I believe their record is 0-11 the last 3 years when it's 40 degrees or lower. So only you can change that narrative if you're a Miami Dolphins player.
Turn the AC up or something, man, in the practice facilities, bro. Like, you got
in the indoor, make it cold.
Yeah, you gotta do some cold showers only, man. Like, that's just what it got to be. But I want to go back to the trenches because you said there was some upside there. Now let's talk about the backfield. It looks like they're kind of thin right now, with at least with Devon Achane with this calf injury. That's kind of like a question mark. I mean, Jalen Wright just goes down in practice.
Correct.
Like, man, we are now staring at Ollie Gordon.
Draft him.
Next guy. Whoa, you ain't even hesitate. Hold up.
I tell you, draft him.
Hold up. I ain't even finished yet, but you said
7th, 8th, 9th round, draft him.
Oh, say less. Say less. Because Ollie Gordon sometimes, where we are, I would say, fantasy like analysts and like whatever you want to call what we do. I look at it as like we kind of overlap draft analysts and all that other stuff. Like, when you look at Ollie Gordon's 2024 season, you didn't dig deep enough. If you stop back there, you ain't dig deep enough. Look at 2023. He would have been
Man,
the number one running back prospect.
without a
And
doubt.
this is with Ashton Genty going crazy as well.
Yeah.
Like Gordon can ball. And we've
Mm.
seen flashes in preseason of this. Like, please tell me, why should I be drafting this man?
Yeah, I go back to Tyreek Hill is the biggest troll receiver in the NFL, maybe player, but him and Devon Achane have a really good relationship. But they were asking Tyreek about the third and short offense and how it's really struggled. And he kind of kids and said, man, I told Mike you got to stop putting Devon Achane back there. That's why
Yo, he made his fantasy stock kind of like,
he was
what?
He was like, man, that's why we got Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon. Like, why are we putting Devon Achane? And then you just talked about it. Jalen Wright goes down because they were kind of picturing him being that guy. And to your point, Ollie Gordon has showed throughout preseason he can be that physical runner that can get you that 1 or 2 yards. Just body type alone, he's going to fall forward, right? That's what he did at Oklahoma State. But he also showed you some nimbleness and niftiness and the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's done that throughout the preseason. So when you look at it, Devon Achane at calf, like calves they can linger. They're annoying,
Boy,
right?
I know somebody that destroyed a lot of fantasy rosters last season.
That calf can linger. And you got to think the way that Devon Achane plays, he's a change of pace back. So, like, when he gets to the outside, like, you really got to engage that calf to turn it over like he does. That's what makes him special in the open field. So, that's a concern when you're talking about a calf. And we've seen it multiple times, and let me knock on wood, where those calf injuries linger, and then a guy rushes back, and then what happens? A crucial injury happens. I'm not even going to say the word, but the crucial injury happens after that. So I think Miami is going to be cautious with him because those things like hamstrings and calf, those things can linger throughout the entire season if you don't treat it properly and get the subsequent rest. So him being down with the calf, Jalen Wright being out. Now, again, there's still 2 more weeks before the actual regular season kicks off. So Devon Achane's been out for a little while. Who's to say that calf won't be all right by the time the regular season starts? But I'm saying in short yardage situations, more specifically in the goal line, I believe Ollie Gordon's going to be the guy for the Miami Dolphins.
Hey, listen, say no mas. I mean, if folks is tapped in right now and you heard the words that this man just said, draft him. Because
draft him late, I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, I mean, definitely. Because I feel like, honestly, calf is the most scariest thing right now that I can see from somebody that's trying to have a fresh start from the CMC, disaster last season.
Yeah.
So like him being such an explosive back, you spoke on it, like nail on the head. Like his ADP has to come down now. Like we need to take the Band-Aid off. His ADP has to come down because I was thinking about taking him in the back end of the first round. Now I
was too until I saw that calf injury.
Yeah, that'll derail all of your plans. But folks, you need to have your head on the swivel. But let's go to your sleeper. You want to have the stage a little set right now for Tanner Connor because you got to talk to me. Because listen, we starting to see him in preseason, kind of getting comfortable,
flexing a little bit, ain't he?
He getting comfortable in the spot. So it's like, hold up, what did you see from him that caught your eye?
Yeah, the few practices that I was out there, that was like to a safety blanket. And the thing about Mike McDonald's offense, Mike McDaniel's offense, excuse me, I said McDonald, that's the coach in Seattle, Mike McDaniel's offense, is he always needs that safety blanket at tight end. And that tight end has to be able to block. And that's where the concern is for Darren Waller. He's not a guy that's a physical blocker. Now, he can get in there and get in the way, but I think that's why Jonnu Smith had so much success in that offense last year, because not only is a blocker, he's also a mismatch in the open space. And we've seen Tanner Connor kind of be that physical blocker, but over the middle of the field, especially in that timing-based offense, Tua trust him because he's going to be where he needs to be in that timing-based offense, right? Everything is precision with Tua. He's so accurate. He's throwing to a spot, and Tanner Connor is going to be at that spot no matter what. So we've seen tight ends that have just a receiving skill set kind of struggle in Mike McDaniel's office. I talked about Mike Gesicki. We'll see. Darren Waller hasn't played in a whole year. They just activated him. He's just starting to get his legs wet again. I think Tanner Connor is a guy that's kind of been the mainstay at tight end for the Miami Dolphins. So he could be a sleeper. Say things don't work out and Mike McDaniel doesn't like what he's seeing from Darren Waller, because you want to be able to run the full bevy of your offense. And if you have, a pass-catching tight end out there, our team's going to say, oh, they're not running the ball because he's in the tight end position, like traditional tight end position. Oh, this is a pass because they're – but with Tanner Conner in, the offense is open because it could be run or pass. So it'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't even be surprised that they go a lot of, 12 personnel with Darren Waller and Tanner Conner in the game at the same time.
Word. Oh, that is one of my stash guys now. Like I've been sprinkling in the fancy streets a little bit. I ain't trying to tell everybody because I got 2 leagues that are back home in Jersey that I know folks is tapped into all the content right now. They trying to get a little edge on me now, but hold up. Is here. I'm coming back for the crown. Chopping it up. Please speak to me about this, man, because listen, my wife's a foodie and we love to get into these cooking shows if it's a contest and everything else. You got to talk to me about this one, man. Like, this looks like really, really good food, brother. Like, I'm
appreciate
like, it's like, hold on. I've never had that. Like my wife is a foodie. Like, she'll try new things, but me, I'm kind of like, it got to look right. You know, like, because like, I don't want just anybody cooking my food. Feel me? Like, that's fact. So it's like, this looks great, man. Like, please explain this to me.
Yeah, I always say, Laquan, you eat with your eyes first, right? So my presentation is always, I try to make sure it's always on point. And my love for cooking came from my mom. Quick backstory, when I was younger, I used to be always in the kitchen. And you know how it is with moms, like, get out my kitchen, get out my kitchen.
It smells good.
Yeah. And then one day she was like, you know what? You want to be in this kitchen? You're going to help me cook. And the rest was history. I found a love for cooking. Man. It's literally one of my passions. So we're chopping up with dudes. Like I get to integrate football and food, right? And real life. So episodes we'll interview different sports players, get them in the kitchen, see what type of cooking skills they have, and then also talk about life and who they are outside of the field. So that was my idea. I've been working on it for last couple years, and then it all came together this year. And it's been great, man. It's been great feedback from everybody. To your point, I'll do some dishes by myself where I'll just cook up some things and put it on, on my YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So make sure you guys follow that on all 3 platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, chopping it up with dudes. And we'll also be doing some giveaways. Right now, I'm doing a giveaway, and it's easy to be eligible. All you got to do is follow Chopping It Up with Dudes on Instagram and YouTube. Go to my last post, at 3 of your friends, and you'll be automatically entered to win a $50 money gift card. I'm giving away 10, right? This contest goes all the way through Friday. Throughout the season, sports memorabilia will give away, and culinary gifts will give away as well. So, this has kind of like been my baby. Like I said, it's one of my passions.
Can tell. You can tell when people put their passion into what they love, and boom.
Yeah,
you're chopping up with dudes.
That's what it's been, man. So I appreciate you letting me
absolutely,
talk
man.
to your people about it.
Make sure everybody tap all the way in to my guy, Douzable.